Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the podcast where I'm joined by Wayne from Wayne's Taxidermy. We talk about the wolf issue in Oregon, which is so politically charged, so very passionate people on both ends. And if you're looking to get good information, my goal for this episode was to bring it to you as unbiased and as opinion-free as I could get. And I must say there's a lot of opinions in this episode, and there's also a lot of language. So, but I believe I also provided a ton of facts. And Wayne also provided a lot of good insight from the Wolf Advisory Committee meetings, from the ag side of it, the cattle ranchers. And I feel like as a whole, this is going to provide people with a lot of actual good information out there, coming from the hunting side, the Wolf Advisory Committee side, and in really understanding the other side. Where are they getting this information? How are they getting it? And as passionate as I am, I'm sure I'm still biased in some areas, as passionate as I am, and as much as I love to hunt. But I believe that the research that I was able to find and do and bring together, cross-reference with other studies, I found the truth. And I believe I am more passionate. I've dug my heels in, and I am more confident going into any conversation now moving forward that I'm on the right side of the conservation issue with the wolves, and that we as hunters are the solution. And we definitely need to become more active. And so hopefully this will prove people wrong that are out there saying things in the hunting community. I'm looking forward to people changing their opinions after this one, or maybe rethinking some things about the wolves, getting good information out there, because there's misinformation from each side, from the pro-wolf side, from the anti-wolf side, from the ODFW side, from the cattle side, and then somewhere in the middle is probably the truth. And that's what this podcast episode was designed to do. As hard as that was for me to wading through 90% pro-wolf stuff on the internet, and then the rest of it is anti-wolf, and then there's that small sliver of actual good science in there where you can tell there's not really much bias on either side, and that's the stuff I went with. And it took hours, many hours of actual legitimate research and Googling and stuff like that, like anybody can do. And I hope that coming out of this, you go out, you do your own research, you form your own opinion. I'm not hoping to tell you how to think. I'm hoping to help you along the way to develop your own thought process on this. I don't want to ever have anybody basically form their opinion and copy my opinion. I want you to form your own. And hopefully this just helps get you off your butt. Go do your own research, become active politically, go to these meetings, have a say. Let's get this spot at the table that we as hunters should be a belt, a tool in the belt that they use, rather than one that they just hear on Facebook telling them how we're going to shoot, shovel, and shut up, because I don't think that's going to do it. So thanks everybody for listening to this podcast, and definitely explicit language. So if you have kids, you might rethink about listening to it with them in the car, or if they can hear it. And outside of that, I hope you enjoy. I'll see you at the end of the episode. Bye. Okay, so that was good.
Well, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, I just wish we could post that up while we talk, and so people could listen to that while we talk, or watch that.
Well, you probably could somehow. No, I don't know. You'd have to do it YouTube or something, right?
Yeah. Maybe I'll make that the thumbnail for the YouTube channel.
There you go. There you go.
So let's go ahead and dive into this, man, because there's we kind of went through my notes a second ago, and you can see I kind of nerded out on it, and there's a lot to talk about. And this episode's coming from the recent post of the ODFW stating the 2018 population for the wolves, and it was like at 124 or something like that.
In 2018, but that's the same population they counted, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think they gained 2.
That's impossible.
Is what they're saying. And, well, when your neighbor in Washington's gaining an average of 30% a year, you got to wonder how good they're counting these wolves.
Well, they're not counting them at all.
So I'm going to turn you up a little bit more there.
There's wolves constantly popping up on Facebook. People are taking pictures of, and they don't know who they are.
Right.
They're not collared. They don't know where he came from. They don't even know where this wolf is from or what. So
throughout the state.
And
then you have my problem with that. We can get into this here, and I'll make a point and we'll come back around. But my point is when you say that, you're full of shit. No, there's no wolves there. There's no wolves there. That's what they will tell you that.
Right.
And it's like, no, here's a picture. That's not a wolf. They will just basically tell you, unless you're a biologist, you got letters after your name, you're full of shit. You have no credibility with them, even if you have proof.
Right.
And to me, that depletes the trust between us and the ODFW right there.
Well, but you got to understand, God, where it all starts, right? So we have one of our commission shareholders in Oregon for the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife is a guy by the name of Michael Finley. Mm-hmm. And you've probably seen me put stuff about him. This dude has been with this involvement, the reintroduction since inception.
Right.
So Bruce Babbitt was the leading biologist for the reintroduction into Yellowstone. Michael Finley's right there with him.
Okay.
I mean, and together with a few others, they started all this. I don't think it's happen chance that the dude's a commission shareholder in Oregon. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind. The governor appoints him anyway, but he's there on purpose, right?
Right.
So that's the other thing, you can't have someone who is pro one species, in my opinion,
and benefit the whole herd,
and benefit the entire population of wildlife in a state. He belongs to a group called Oregon Wild, okay?
Yeah.
And they are pro-wolf, and so we, as hunters in this state, pay his salary, which I have no idea what it is. It doesn't matter, but I'm sure it's 6 figures, right? Mm-hmm. So how much of that money does he donate to Oregon Wild? See, we're kind of cutting our own throat, if you know what I mean, right? We're paying this guy's salary, and then he's donating to an organization that is pro-wolf, and they're
anti-hunting conservation,
all that,
that stuff.
And they're not footing any of the bill for the wolves at all. That's still coming out of hunters' dollars. Yet we have zero say in anything. Doesn't that seem a little bullshit to you? Because it does to me.
It seems a little backwards that our community is in general. Typically, I believe we do the most work, volunteer work, conservation work for just even just fences for the sage grouse, all this other stuff, random stuff. We do a lot of work. I really don't see them out there doing anything. They raise all this money. And then, when somebody says, hey, where's the money going? It's none of your business. Well, I think it's going to bullshit lawsuits and tying us up in court and stuff like that. I think that's
it goes.
Probably where most of it's going. But, like Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, they're very transparent where their money goes. They show you the projects where it's going and stuff like that. They show you where all this stuff is going. But when you get to these anti or pro-wolf or pro-this or pro-that, they're not so transparent.
Right.
So, and it really does make sense if you say maybe hold a political seat or one that is elected or given to you by someone that is very liberal, probably sure as hell doesn't like guns, Kate Brown.
Right.
I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say she wouldn't prefer anybody to have guns, and say hunting's probably right up there with all that too.
Well, and I think that might be part of the reason of this entire reintroduction. It might be one of the reasons.
Right.
That's why I say part. I don't think that it was solely based on to take our guns away.
Right.
But I think in the longevity, maybe it might have been.
Might circle around.
It might have also been to break down the, livestock industry. Mm. I mean, and that's what I'm going to touch on a bunch today, because most of the meetings that I've sat in on, that's what they're talking about. You know, because that's the I've looked at your notes and the things that you gathered, and we talked about them, and I think they're all great. They have all to do with wildlife, but think about how much easier it is to study these things and see the damage they're doing on livestock, because it's a hell of a lot more controlled. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? They're right there. These guys see it every day. They deal with it every day. And believe me, the ones that are getting hit are dealing with these. They may not lose a cow every day, but they are getting fucked with every day. Mm-hmm. Every single day, they're getting harassed by wolves. So they're a problem. They're a major problem. But let's go back. Let's start.
Yeah,
let's be as fair as we can to the wolf.
I went into this thing, and I'm going to get right off the bat here. This is probably going to run some people wrong. I'm not anti-wolf. I think it's kind of stupid, unless maybe you're a rancher, which would make more sense to be anti-wolf, because
Sure.
that's like a shoplifter coming to your store every day and trying to rip
Absolutely.
you off. So I can understand that. But as a hunter and a guy that just loves, hunting and wildlife and all that stuff, and I consider myself to be, hunting as part of a conservation tool, and I want to see animals in general do really good. I do. I'm not anti-wolf. I'm anti-bullshit, anti-BS. I'm anti-misleading smokes and mirrors, anti-ODFW telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about because I've never gone to college and went into debt to go out and make this much money a year and be able to say that, that's a marble murrelet wing, bead over there or whatever.
Right.
If you're not a biologist, I just feel like you're not taken seriously by a lot of those guys. I'm just anti-propaganda and agenda. I just want the truth. And I think for me, I wouldn't even be doing this podcast if I feel I wasn't given a line of bullshit. So I felt the need to come out and do this podcast because I want to come in it from a objective standpoint of what do wolves actually do? What are the problems? What could be the benefits? Why is this even a big debate and all this stuff? And so, yeah, you're right. I got tons of notes in here. And, I'm not, like I said, I'm going to make it very clear. I'm not anti-wolf. I don't hate wolves. I hate the thought of the agendas and the politics behind the wolves is where I get rubbed the wrong way. Does that mean I want to see wolves in my state? No, I really, I don't want to see wolves here. I don't think we have the herds to support them. I don't think we're ready for them.
Well, that's just it. I'm not anti-wolf either, but I am anti-wolf because in this day and age, we just don't have room for them. We just don't. Yeah. And that was the reason that they were eliminated in the first place. And that's where I wanted to start, right? Let's go back to before this country was ever really started, right?
Okay.
So people come here, white settlers, Lewis and Clark. We'll start there. They made notes of buffalo by the millions and antelope by the billions, right? Mm-hmm. Not very many people on this continent. You needed a fucking wolf. You had to have one. There's no way that the Native Americans could have they couldn't keep up with it, right? And so if a wolf went in there and whacked 30 buffalo or elk, they didn't even put a dent in it.
Yeah, no one cared.
No one cared.
There was no one to care.
There was no one to care, number one. Number two, there were so many critters running around, you had to have that. You had to, right? And that boom-bust theory, right? That's kind of what a lot of people rely on. There wasn't a boom-bust. There wasn't a boom-bust. It was always this, right? They kept them in check because the numbers were here, and there was this many wolves. And maybe sometimes more die-offs occurred on either side, but it wasn't because one population boomed and then that caused the other one to be decimated because there was nothing left, right?
Maybe like a hard winter or a fire.
Anything.
Depleting some
Sure.
Okay.
So as time goes on, we move across this country because we think we have to fucking own everything, and we kill almost all the buffalo off. Massive herds of elk and antelope numbers, and all to starve out a race of people so that we can own their shit, right? I mean, honestly, that's what it was about.
I'm not strong in that area, so I'm not going to act like I do, but I'm following you.
Okay. I mean, I think
it sounds historically accurate.
Anybody, it's not even hard. There's no black and white. Just look at it. Hey, we started colonizing and we moved all the way over to the west side. And wait a minute, these guys don't want us here, so let's kill their ass and we'll just have.
Basically,
that's how it works, right? That's how the world works, whether you want to believe it or not. Right. That's the way it works.
Back then, if you have something and I want it, you're dead, and I'm going to take it, or you're going to give it to me.
When that happened, they brought in the sheep, they brought in the cows. Mm-hmm. They'd already depleted most of the ungulates, right? Or not most, but a lot, because they lived off of those too, right? To build their stock up. Well, they didn't kill the wolves off, and now all of a sudden we got a problem,
right?
Because the wolves are eating our fucking sheep and they're eating our cows, so we have to get rid of them. So we eliminated them all, right? When does it say 1947 was the last wolf killed in Oregon?
So I wanted to go over the history of Oregon in wolves in here. And the state of Oregon sponsored or paid for the eradication of the wolves via bounties, and the last bounty was issued in 1947.
Okay.
And then fast forward 1995, 96. I think you know exactly what those dates are.
Oh, yeah.
94, 95, and 96 was a really good year for if you were a predator, like a bear, a cougar, a wolf. Because a lot of horrible decisions for man
Absolutely
were made, especially in Oregon where, hound hunting was taken away. The hunting community lost a lot of tools. And we gained a lot of predators via not being able to harvest them as efficiently as we used to, and via transporting them from Alberta area down to the central Idaho and Yellowstone.
Right.
So that those 3 years there really sucked to be a sportsman, and we dropped the ball.
We did. That was probably it. We got outvoted here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the other states worked. I don't think there was ever any vote or any say on whether they were going to reintroduce wolves into Yellowstone because they wanted them to help control the elk population within the park, which at the time was like 130,000 animals, right?
There was a lot. And just so you know, the favor, I'm not sure. I think this is fairly accurate for current voting standards, but 60 to 65% favor of reintroduction is what we're looking at today. So if you're anti-reintroduction, you're losing by a pretty good margin.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a good margin, but voting standards, if you're getting your ass kicked.
Right.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, go ahead. Go on.
So they reintroduce these things in the park, and in short order, they eliminated they've taken better than 90%. They've removed better than 90% of the elk inside that park in today's day. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I've got here.
That's not help from hunters.
No,
that's just wolves.
No, and I printed off a few studies and charts, and I just wish we had this on live, but I didn't want all the comments coming in and kind of distracting us from talking and stuff, or it getting too heated. But they went from just in one northern Yellowstone elk herd, the Yellowstone area went down the first 10 years of reintroduction from 20,000 down to 4,000. That's 80%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's in the first 10 years.
Right.
So,
but see, they knew this would happen because they had done studies in Alaska prior to the reintroduction. The one was the island I was telling you about with all the deer, right? So they have this island that's populated with a deer to the point that even mass tag, allotments wasn't really knocking down the numbers enough, which, we're not as efficient as a wolf. Okay. We're not, we can't hunt 365, 24/7. We can't.
Right.
Okay. So there's a huge difference right there. If we could go out there and shoot one every day, I'm sure we could throttle it back pretty good.
Right.
Right. So they reintroduced wolves. They started with 24. They decided, hey, this will help control the deer. Within 6 years, they had eliminated all the deer, and then they were finding, because the only other thing on that island were black bears, and now they're finding in the winter these wolves would dig these bears out of hibernation and eat them because they had nothing else.
Seriously.
So guess what they had to do? They had to go in there and kill all the wolves, and then repopulate the island. How many dollars did they spend?
I have no idea.
More than they should have. Think about that. There are units in Idaho, the Lolo unit being one of them, where they were decimated.
Yep.
Just wiped them all, killed every freaking elk in there. The wolves ate them, gone. They paid money to reintroduce elk to the Lolo. What kind of sense is this making?
Right.
You see what I mean? Our predators are going completely and totally unchecked. Not necessarily totally, right? We can still hunt bears here. We can still hunt cats here. How many cougars do you think get taken annually? Before we had about
500.
We had like a quota in most units of like 80 cats. Some of them were lower, right?
Yeah, the coast this year hit that quota, but it wasn't that many cats.
Well, okay.
Like 130 something cats. I don't know.
But is that included in the ones that they have that they take?
I don't believe. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Well,
it's not enough cats. We have like 6,600 cats estimated here.
I know that they answer because I just know what comes into the shop, right?
Right.
I would say roughly 80% of the mountain lions that come into my shop have been trapped by ODFW because they ate somebody's mini horse or goat
or whatever
they did. Very few 20% come in from a hunter.
Yeah.
That actually was lucky enough to see one and get it killed. Most of them are coming from livestock depredation.
Right.
That tells me something. That tells me we ain't got enough fucking ungulates.
Right.
Oh, and these cats are like 3 years old. What's a 3-year-old Tom doing down there eating your goat? It's because he's got nowhere to go. You know, bigger, older cat's going to whip his butt. Maybe there's nothing up there to eat.
Right.
I mean,
there's a lot of them, and there's
a lot
I was
of
a
them.
kid, the population has doubled since I was a kid, like in the last 20 years. Because when I was a kid, going to all the local ODFW or the OHA meetings, they were freaking out because 94, 95, or 94 happened, the hound hunting happened, and then the cougars were starting to become a prevailing problem, and everybody was bitching about them probably 10 years after that. About not even 10 years after that, probably sooner than that. And they were saying 3,300 cougars were above objective. We can't keep up with them. All shit's breaking loose. And now we're at 66.
we're double that.
Yeah, about.
Or more.
Known.
Right.
Known. Okay, that's a very important number, and I'll come back around to that later. But that's a problem. It was a problem at 3,000. I think, I forget what the actual objective was back then, but I believe it was around 3,000, and we were at 3,300 when I was a kid.
Right. So
there's something wrong
what's
with
that tell us? That tells us that no matter how big and badass and how great of a hunter you think you are, you're really not that great.
You're not keeping up.
You're not doing your part.
Right.
You're only hunting the deer and the elk, which, you know, that's what strokes our ego, right, for most of us, right? Look at this rocket. Look at this. Look at that. Look at me. That's what the hunting world's really become. Look at me. Look at me.
Right.
Well, fuck you, because that's all you're wanting to do. What about... And there are handfuls of guys, especially locally, the Bateman boys, On Foot Films. Those guys go out, they try and call cats, and the Batemans have done really well. They've killed several.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not saying not everybody does their part, but most of us don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't really have time to fuck with them. I want to, but I don't have time, right? So what do? I try to go to every meeting I can, which I think is important.
Yeah.
Just for knowledge, if nothing else. And I got myself a seat on the Douglas County Wolf Advisory Board.
Right.
Because it's important.
Thanks for doing that, by the way.
It's important. You
Right.
got to, right? I can get on Facebook like everybody else and type it up, shoot a pack a day or whatever the fuck they call it, right? But you look like a douche. You're not going to shoot a pack a day. You couldn't do it even if you thought you wanted to.
Right.
My guess is most of those guys don't even get off their ass anyway. So shut up. You don't. Most of the stuff we see on social media is the sign I held up earlier, right? On the opposite side of Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Right.
It's just a bunch of dudes talking shit, and you don't know anything about it other than we got a bunch of wolves in the state that are causing damage. Other than that, what do you fucking know?
I agree, and to be honest, it kind of, I'm not going to say it pisses me off. It really does. I guess it does piss me off because I see that, and I'm like, if an anti-hunter or some anti-hunting organization wants to make a point that I don't believe to be true, they're going to take your stupid comment,
Right.
shoot them all, kill them all, shoot, shovel, shut up, smoke a pack a day, see it all the time.
Right.
Only wolves, a good wolf is a dead wolf, all this shit. I see that. You can see that literally almost every comment.
Doesn't make the community look
doesn't
good,
make,
does it?
Yeah, no, it makes us look like shit. It makes us look like what they're portraying us to be.
Right.
When you
Stupid.
Stupid, uneducated.
Right.
You know, and that is where, I bitch about not being taken seriously. I think it's because, as a whole, that's what we're coming off as.
Right.
It's not good. And so that's another reason, I had guys, say, long story short, so I've been on that side too, where I sound uneducated. I'm not going to say I'm innocent in this thing. My shit's not.
None
clean.
of us are.
I before doing all my research, I thought that these were a different breed of wolves that we had here before. I thought these things were bigger, badder, meaner, bad wolves. Okay.
Well, they are a little bit different than what we had before.
Slightly
genetically,
but I'm not going to say they're not scientifically speaking, they are the same scientific name than. Same wolf we had here. Gray wolf is a gray wolf, okay?
Right.
But, guys want to call them timber wolves. Well, if a timber wolf is living, or a gray wolf is living in the timber, then sure, yeah, it's a timber wolf,
Sure.
Okay.
Those things aren't as big as people think.
Right.
They don't.
So
they vary, kind of like a mountain lion does.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned about a cat is they come one of two ways. They're either skinny or they're full. And the difference can be 35 to 40 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. So a cougar or a wolf is going to be the same, right? He's eating well. He's going to be maybe 125, 130 pounds. If he's not, heck, he could be 110.
Right.
105. They're not.
That leads
Man,
me,
they are like track stars. They're
Yeah.
not what people think. They're not this big, bulky, muscle head. They're like an Olympic track athlete, and they will run your shit down and chew your ass out and then kill you, right? That's what they do. So
Right.
there's no way. Great example to kind of comparison. Look at a Rocky Mountain elk and look at our Roosevelts, right? There's maybe not a huge Rocky bull, but there's a sizable difference, especially in the cows,
200 pounds,
right?
Yeah, I could see that.
But if you booger these Roosevelts on the coast, if you have any kind of wind at all, you can usually catch up to them again.
Right.
You ain't doing that with them Rocky Mountain elk.
Good luck.
They're gone.
Yeah.
See ya.
We're talking a herd can go 5, 14, 10 miles, east side over here. Goodbye. And then over here on the coast, they might go one drainage, maybe or even wrap around and do a circle on, they know where they're going before they go there. So I'm glad you went over that, because that brings me into something. One of my points here that I was wanting to make is, the history of Oregon wolves. How big did the wolves here that used to be here, and were they gray wolves? They were gray wolves. They were a gray wolf that lived in Oregon. There's an article here that from 1910 editions of the Bend Bulletin. I'm just going to read it here. I have a report in Prineville about a large gray wolf. This is in 1910. Being killed for a $117.50 bounty, said to be the largest ever seen in this part of the county. This is out of the article here. Guess how much it weighed? 120 pounds.
120 pounds.
120 pounds. Up to, 120 pounds, and they said it was the biggest one ever recorded in those parts. And that is straight out of a local newspaper.
And that's a big wolf.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, he's over 6 foot long if you're holding him.
Yeah.
He's just a big, long sucker.
I guess the best way to describe it would be, how often are bears misjudged on size? How many 100-pound, 300-pound bears do you see come in? You know what I'm talking about?
Every single bear that comes through the door that is 100 pounds is 200 pounds. Oh, it's a 200-pounder. And I look at it, and I'm like, that dog is 35. This thing might be 55. It's seriously.
I've shot small bears before. And
who
granted,
hasn't?
It's a learning experience. Until you why can you go up to a human and say within 10 pounds how much they probably weigh? It's because you're around them all the time.
You see them every day.
You know the anatomy. You see
know
them every day.
You weigh.
I know what I weigh.
Right.
Okay. We don't see wolves. We don't know shit about wolves here.
No.
I've never seen one in person. If I saw a 120-pound wolf, I'd probably say it was 180 pounds.
Well, sure.
There's the world record wolf. Weighs a 100 or 230 pounds. Was the one of the largest or the largest wolf ever recorded. And a biologist, just to go even farther than that, biologist in Montana who's weighed over 1,000, through his studies says he hasn't weighed one over 140 pounds. These are the same wolves that were transplanted from Alberta, the same ones that we have here today.
Right.
So the largest wolf ever recorded in Bend, we're only talking 20 plus pounds. And if you're comparing the skulls between the new wolves, and I believe this from the study and the research that I done, we're talking the skulls from the old days, the 1910 day,
right,
versus now, we're talking they're millimeters bigger. Millimeters. Okay. To me, that doesn't sound much, but it also does make sense if the farther away from the equator an animal gets on, like a wolf or an elk or a mule deer,
right,
the bigger the body size will get because it has to stay warmer the farther away from the equator, so farther north. I believe that. I can buy that. So that makes sense why they're slightly bigger, kind of like a Roosevelt to a Rocky,
right,
bigger than the ones that we have today. So, are they slightly bigger? I'm going to say but we're only talking 10, 20 pounds.
It wouldn't make a difference. And the wolves from there aren't any different than the wolves that were here previous. They're not. They do the same thing.
Right.
They do the same thing.
Yeah.
They get worked up and they kill stuff.
Right. An average of, and from what I've seen, an average of about, and it's so varying, but 22 or 12 to 22. You can say 16 and be pretty accurate. Wolves, one wolf will kill 16 elk a year on average. Some sites are more, some sites are less, but on average, if you just take the median of what I found, 16. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
And their diet is about 95% elk when it's available. So, to answer questions, because that, I was wrong on that one, and that's where I was wanting to go. Is like, I was guilty of saying these aren't the same wolves. These ones are more aggressive. They're bigger.
Right. I hear that all the time.
They're assholes. They're bloodthirsty, and I'm not saying they're not bloodthirsty. I'm not saying they don't surplus kill. And I will get into that here in a second, because I was told by the ODFW by one of their 4 geniuses on there handling their social media accounts that basically I'm wrong, that they don't surplus kill. There's no evidence of them ever doing that. There's no fun that they've ever killed for fun.
And that's a blatant lie, because the wolves here are doing just that. The one right here in Curry County.
And I can read the report off my phone.
So you got the report already, right?
I do, yeah. And these are the things.
At the time I got that report, it wasn't out. It wasn't out to the public, so I couldn't. That's why I didn't want to say anything. And I have to kind of hold back a little bit, right?
Well, I want to make clear that, even though you're on the Wolf Advisory Board, that doesn't mean you're pro-wolf. That means that you're just on the board to give our perspective. And like, you tell people you're on the Wolf Advisory Board, people are probably going to think, oh, what a douche.
Okay, so let me explain that. Then the Wolf Advisory Board is comprised of a couple of local business owners, which I am one, right? And I have a vested interest. I'm a taxidermist, okay? A couple of agricultural people, livestock owners, they have a vested interest, and then a couple of pro-wolf people. And basically all it is we all take votes and talk about what we're going to do, because the wolves are here in Douglas County and they're about to be a major fucking problem. Right. A major problem. Right. Just like Jackson County. So I can get into some things, but what I've seen so far from the little time that I've been there and the meetings I've seen, all it is a huge, giant expense. Because we're not killing them. They're not going to let us do anything to them. We have to try and keep them at bay, to the tune of thousands and thousands of dollars and man hours just to keep a wolf from eating somebody's cow. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So
beyond that.
Before we get into that, are you able to say what the costs are, or is that getting into your no-no zone?
Well, I can tell you, I will say this, that Douglas County, I'll say this much. Douglas County is looking for a $50,000 grant.
Are they?
From the general, I'll say that much.
I found in my notes,
it's not going to go very goddamn far.
Well, I found in my notes that there was like $127,000 that was granted to multiple counties to reimburse livestock. That's 120, or there might have been more than that, but I believe it was around $127,000 that we are now paying for wolves to kill livestock.
Yeah, basically. Makes no sense at all.
Wait, that's a lot of money. A lot of money.
So think about that. We're paying that for reimbursement, right? Instead of collecting the tax money from those livestock sales. And so let's touch on livestock real quick, since I know most about that. Let's just talk about what wolves have done with livestock.
And this will go into the report for Curry County. I'll go right nicely into it.
So one of the last meetings I sat in on was pretty much, there was a ODFW guy there, there was a U.S. Fish and Wildlife guy there, and there was a retired ag agent. He had been an agriculture agent in La Grande in Oregon, and eventually retired and moved to Idaho because he was so sick of the politics that go on here. At any rate, they were all there to give us their spiel on the wolf and what was going on in Oregon. He came with solid evidence. It was really amazing. What he had done was, he couldn't get the funding here in Oregon to do the study, so he went to Idaho and did it, and he collared cattle that were around collared wolves and watched them and watched the interactions. And so he goes, here you go, here's the cattle right here in this corner, and here comes a wolf. And we don't know how many wolves, we just know there's one because he's collared, right? And all of a sudden he goes, just watch them. Here they are, now they're up here in this corner. The wolf's still down here, but the cows are up here.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, probably doesn't mean anything to you guys, but I want you to know that from there to there is 3.5 miles. Look at the time lapse. He goes, what I know about cows is they don't run nowhere. They're not running for any reason. So something happened. The wolf didn't kill a cow that day, but something happened.
Mm-hmm.
Later on that evening, oh, here's the wolf again. He showed up around the cows. They run down to this corner. That corner was like 4.5 miles.
Really?
So what he's saying is there's lower birth rates because they're getting run all the time.
Right.
Lower weights on the scale, right? So you're losing money because your cows are running instead of just feeding,
right.
Okay? Then you have the depredation on top of that. He also had some pictures of a mangled calf. I mean, it was ripped from one end to the other. It was really kind of gross, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, check this out. I want to show you this. He says, can you believe a wolf would just shred that thing like that? And we all kind of shook our heads, and he goes, well, a wolf didn't. What happened was the cows had gotten around in a circle to protect this calf, and they trampled it to death because the wolves, and they showed when it happened, right? Collared cows, collared wolf, he's running like this, and they trampled their own stuff. The other thing they're finding out is that cow dogs aren't working
because
killed. They turn around and try and fight them. You know, instead of before you could put your border collie or healer, whatever you use, you know, send them out there and they push them back to wherever you need them. That's not working anymore. So they did a study where they had.
So you're saying the cows are now associating ranch dogs with wolves?
Yeah, they're just, it's a dog, so they're going to stand.
That's interesting.
So what they did to prove it was they took cows that were living around wolves, cows that were not living around wolves, and they put them in this pen. And then they set off some wolf howls and then walked a German Shepherd down along the pen. The cows that lived around wolves were clear to the back of that thing, all facing the dog.
Really?
And the cattle that didn't live around wolves were right up next to the dog.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, I mean, he came with all this information and studies that he'd done on this and had it all down to, you know, how much the average weight was that they lost and you know, the birth rate and all this stuff. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife guy, puzzling enough, came with very little information, and he had shown how the wolves have traveled from like Mount Emily down the 97 corridor, and that's how we ended up getting the Rogue and Klamath, and then down into Lassen, right? The one in California. He said in that meeting, he goes, I swear to God, we're not transporting them. Well,
before being asked.
Yeah.
Really?
He came right out and said, got ahead of it. And I thought, well, okay.
Why would you say that?
That's a funny thing to say, number one. Number two, nobody here knows whether you really are or not.
Right.
And we can say that they are. We can say, hey, they're putting wolves in there so they can build the pack. We don't know that. We don't know that. And if you say, oh, bullshit, I saw them cutting wolves loose. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You're a fucking liar, because they're not going to do it in front of anybody that's not going to keep their mouth shut, if they are, right? The other thing is if this asshole doesn't believe in God, I don't care what he says. You can swear to God all you want. That doesn't mean you're not driving them down the road. Right. I don't know that. You're showing me blips that this wolf came down the 97 corridor. Well, maybe he did. But what about the other 30 of them?
Right.
You know, we don't know. So the one in Curry County, he had killed, you have the report. How many did he kill? I guess 30?
Let me see here.
Maybe that was the grand total.
A producer, USDA Wildlife Services specialist, discovered 23 dead sheep and a partially fenced pasture on private property.
23 dead sheep.
After the discovery of 4 dead lambs.
Right. So pushing 30.
2 additional carcasses were later found as well. So, yeah, 30.
Okay. So he wasn't sure whether it was a wolf or not. He was pretty sure it was, right? We're talking about the USDA guy.
Yeah.
So they eventually got this wolf on camera. Okay? oh, we know who he is. Well, his collar isn't working.
Right. I've read that in a few spots.
It hadn't been working.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't give a shit what they say. He's not by himself. They're saying now this wolf is working alone. He's a lone wolf. He's out there doing this all on it. He killed all 30 of those by himself. The fuck he did. There's more than one. They may not have got him on camera. Maybe they only got the one. I don't know. But he ain't by himself. I know that to be bullshit. And they like to say that, oh, it's just a rogue random wolf that made it over there. No, he didn't. He might have made it over there, okay, but he didn't go there alone. Well,
that leads into something that, I was accusing him of transporting wolves, and I have zero proof, and it's a conspiracy theory. And
they traveled just ungodly
I was going to say,
miles.
the more research I do, they really wouldn't have to transport them because they haul ass through a long distance.
They can cover tons of ground in a day.
We had I believe there was one of our collared wolves that went all the way back over to Montana. And
I don't doubt it.
Holy shit.
See, and doesn't that kind of shoot the bullshit theory that, oh man, these are different wolves, they brought them down, because Canada's right there.
Yeah. They just one state away.
Within if they have a big enough population, why couldn't they come down?
Right.
And I'm sure they do. I'm sure those northern borders, the wolves in Minnesota and stuff probably bounce back and forth, right? I'm sure they do. I'm sure up there in Washington along the Canadian border, they're bouncing back and forth.
Well, this is just part of all the stuff that, I believe we're getting the half-truths. Yeah, it was a wolf attack, and they're saying one wolf probable. They're not even completely saying it was a wolf attack, but they're saying it was consistent with a wolf attack, even though there was a wolf in the area. He had a collar, but it quit working. That just to me adds to the smokes and mirrors.
It does.
Of what they're doing.
And they have 68 collared wolves, but only monitor 14 of them. What in the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Why are we paying for 68 collars if you're only going to look at 14 of them? Well, batteries go bad, or this goes bad, or that goes bad. We'll figure it the fuck out.
Why aren't we being proactive and keeping
Go
batteries?
Replace the freaking battery then. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than the whole collar, right? I mean, money is just being thrown at these stupid things like nobody's business, and all they're doing is costing more money. That's my biggest fucking beef with it, right? What are we thinking? We're looking to take thousands of dollars from a general fund to help protect livestock against wolves, and it works for a couple of days.
Are we giving the ranchers a decent price for their cattle, or are they getting screwed? Is it pennies on the dollar?
I don't know. So what do you think? So let's say I buy one of my pack goats. Let's just use that because that's going to be the easiest for me, because I don't know what the dollar figure is on beef cows right now.
Right.
Let's say I give $500 for him, right? Which I wouldn't, but we'll say I do. I got him when he was just a kid, and now he's 3 years old. And you know how much work I put into one of those fucking things,
all the
right?
feed and time.
Feed and time, right? And now he's ready to go, and we're going to be packing elk. Garrett's just got to kill one, so probably be another 4 years, but we're going to hope. Anyways, and then here come the wolves, and they kill my frickin' goat.
Well, he might have been worth $500, but how much were you into him?
That's the whole thing, right? I mean, how much are you into him? A shit ton. The vaccinations, the time, I mean, God, I'm not a cattle guy. I'm not.
Right.
But I know what it entails a little bit, right? They got to go out there and help them birth. They've got to do all kinds of crazy shit. It's a full-time job and then some.
Right.
To make enough money to do it again next year.
Right.
And now you've got to dick around, right, and lose livestock or put up fladry or run the range and try and keep these things at bay. It's complete and total bullshit. USDA guys, they can't answer. If I get a cat down there eating my stuff, they ain't got time for me because they got wolves over here barking on this guy's cows every single day. They've already gotten into them, so they're going to come back every day, every single day. Those ones in Prospect, Butte Falls, that pack, I just about shit myself when I've read reports on them. They're messing with those guys every single day. When's enough?
Right.
That's what I want to know. When is enough enough?
Well, I guess my question would be is what is that person's what rights do they have?
Well, they don't have any rights because they're federally protected. So basically, it's like, fuck you. If you have the right to keep losing cows or give it up.
Right.
See, and that's what makes me think that there's something bigger to this. Way bigger than what we're digging at. It's already decided. They want to have wolves in Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas. Think about the livestock industry in just those states alone. And Colorado has a huge elk population, right?
And they got wolves there now.
Well, they've fought for their lives and lost ground, right? So how long do you think it'll be before they're in Kansas?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Not very damn long.
As fast as they travel would be, wouldn't be too long.
So, and we're not doing anything. We've already talked about it. What was the population growth in Montana? The 500% thing we talked about.
Oh, you want me to go over that real quick?
Well, yeah, because they're allowed to hunt them in Montana. They have seasons on wolves, right?
Right.
Okay. So
well, let me go over this. In 1995-96, this is where it all started. Right. That's when we brought the wolves down. How many do you think we brought down?
35.
They say 66 wolves into Idaho / into Yellowstone 1995. So
so there were
multiple things.
35 released in Idaho. Sorry, I don't know what I.
Right. Well, there's a lot of conflicting information. I had to go to about 6 different sites to find something I could see. But and this was over, and they say 41 over 3 years in certain areas, but. If you wanted to, it would be 31 in Yellowstone, 35 into the Frank Church Wilderness in central Idaho.
Right.
Kind of like what you were saying.
That's what my numbers that I knew.
They were saying originally, and you might have to give me a second to find my note here, that they wanted originally 30 breeding pairs, or in parentheses 70 to 100 wolves. Fast forward 10 years, 50% decrease in that area for elk. 500 to 600% over the original goal. 500 to 600% over the original goal. So Montana stated, and this is something that I wish, again, Oregon would do, that the wolf counts are based on minimum number of wolves. Sounds familiar.
Right.
They actually estimate, what they do is they have their minimum counts, and then they say 25 to 35% higher than that, which would put the whole area, in that area, 500 to 600 above objective of what the original agreed upon amount would be. They're not keeping up with them.
Right. Well, and they're allowed to hunt them, right? So what's that tell you? We can't do it. We can't keep up with them. We can't. You couldn't. Yeah. So go smoke your fucking pack a day and let me know how it works out for you. Because obviously it's not a feasible objective, right?
Right.
That's why they poisoned them to begin with, because it was impossible to go out and shoot them all. They're not stupid. They're not. It's not like. God, we are so misconstrued on how wildlife works. We are hunting a prey species mostly. Mm-hmm. That's what most of us hunt, right?
Right, where you see the ungulates and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's what
we hunt an elk. We hunt a deer. I'm not saying they're totally stupid, but they're not brilliant.
They're not a cougar.
If they were brilliant, we'd have a hell of a time getting them killed, right?
Right.
So you're messing with a critter that has way more brains. God, and I hate to say it, but really, and the reality of things in this day and age, probably more brains than the average human walking around, right?
Right.
And we think we're going to go out there and just keep them knocked back to where they're not going to be an issue. That's not going to happen. Smoke back a day.
Well, I want to also go to a different area. You remember how I said they also planted a 35 into the Frank Church central Idaho area?
Right.
Guess how that elk population is doing since 2002?
Well, it's got to be in the tank.
They fell 43% in that area.
Yeah,
43%. And if you talk to guys, there's still elk there, but a lot of guides they don't guide in there anymore. That's just not. If you can't show your client an elk, they're not going to come back.
It's that, and it's that they get their horses and stuff harassed at night, and it's kind of a pain. They've made it a pain in the ass, right?
Right.
But that goes back to that guy, the watershed dude, right?
I was just going to get into that.
Let's get into this son of a bitch. Let's do it. I wish you would have invited him.
You know, I'm guessing he wouldn't. He would probably decline. We're not his type of people. This gentleman named George Werther or something like that. And,
I thought it was worthless.
FYI about this guy. He's also published about 38 books. All of them are pretty much anti what we're about. That Oregon could support 2,000 plus wolves. He is providing consulting work for us, and he is also a wildlife policy analyst.
Oh, great.
Active in the wolf recovery, very active in Oregon, and he was, if he's not still, the Western Watershed Project Oregon director. So This is a multi-state effort, and he was in Idaho, I believe, for a while. Did some work over there. You saw how good of work he did over there. The wolves are doing fantastic, and now he's come into Oregon, and he's doing the same thing.
Right, and if he had it his way, how much would he change the national parks?
Oh, Jesus. He would grow them all and then limit, he wouldn't have you step a foot on half of the national forest.
Right.
Long story short, the guy, I read an interview with him. It was a long interview, but it was a podcast, and I basically read the podcast with him, just trying to get inside this guy's head. And basically he said, we want to do that because that's our gift back to the earth, not having humans in certain areas, basically. And I'm paraphrasing there, but he doesn't want to have bicycles on trails because the soil compaction and you're running over the snails and the slugs. But
he still wants all these humans he don't want in there to pay the taxes on it, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, fuck off. That's not how it works.
And this guy is a player at the table. He is
absolutely
a player. He is there. He's taken very seriously. He's got letters after his name. He is a scientist of sorts, and I had a thought here the other night, and I even wrote it down because I thought it was kind of a good one, is we have guys like this, and there's tons of them by the groves. He's not alone. I mean, he's just loves wolves, only sees one side of it, doesn't believe there's probably ever a reason to ever kill a wolf, ever. But, in my opinion, and he's doing his own studies and shit, and he's providing consultation, and he has science, and where we're getting all this Oregon wildlife or Oregon wild bullshit science is, let's just look at science. What is science? Science is like basically, you're supposed to form a hypothesis, right? Or an idea. Mm-hmm. You form your experiment. Theory. Yeah, your theory. You form your experiment, and then you get the answer. And most of the time, it should surprise you.
Right. Well,
I think so. Like, oh, wow, that's interesting. You don't start from the fucking conclusion.
Right.
Perform the experiments to get to that conclusion, and performing until you get the fucking answer you're looking for.
Exactly, and that's what they do. They make it read the way they want.
I'm getting in a little bit of a rant here, but what I wrote down is science should be done to find the answer, not reach the answer and then do the science.
Right.
That's what's going on here, and I get a little fired up about this shit because that is the smokes and mirrors, and that's the bullshit. And this guy wants to source, how great the Montana population is doing, and then also take into effect and then say the wolves aren't having an impact. Look how great Montana's doing. Well, he's taking in consideration the parts of Montana that have no fucking wolves.
Right.
How's that fair? That's not sound science, man.
It's not sound science. So, well, let's go to
this is the stuff that I wanted to fight back against.
Okay, let's go to the theory that wolves change rivers. You've heard it, right?
Okay. That leads me into another thing. If you're wanting to do your own research and say that I'm a voter, I'm not a hunter, I want to know what the big hissy fit is about hunters versus pro wolf guys. I'm going to become pro wolf 10 times quicker on the internet than I am getting to the actual information that will make you vote our way.
Absolutely.
We are in an information war right now, and we are getting our asses kicked 9-1.
Yep.
It's not even close.
Well,
Oregon Wild dominates the searches. Then you have wolf.org this, pro wolf this. It is silly how hard I had to search to get good answers.
If you take a look at that wolves change rivers theory. I want to use that one.
I saw that, and I can describe it in detail, too.
Well, sure. So, by removing ungulates, it brings willows and natural forage along the banks back, right?
Right.
Which brings the beavers back, right?
Which brings the beavers.
And what's a beaver do?
Creates dams and stuff.
No fucking shit, it changed the river. How fucking stupid do you think we are? Of course it did, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean it did anything else any fucking good.
So you're going to absolutely destroy the elk population to help willows and beavers. And they're saying that there's also research that has been done that absolutely argues with that propaganda. There's a video on it. The birds are doing better because, the streams are doing better because the willows are protecting the stream from raising the temperature, which helps the fish, which brings the beavers back because the willows get bigger because the elk aren't raking their horns and feeding on the sapling. Well, I get it. It's kind of a chain reaction.
Right.
But there's a lot of bias and there's a lot of misinformation in that study.
Absolutely.
And it's this kind of do the answer first and then the science after video. That video, I guarantee you, if you don't know what you're looking at, you're going to say, wow, that is fascinating.
Well, yeah. And
wow,
that's what you're going to see when you go to research a wolf. That's the first thing
that is the first thing
up.
You see is I typed in wolves reintroduction and then boom, why are the wolves good for Yellowstone? How did the wolves help the river?
Right.
That is what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It is literally an information war.
It is, and you're going to have to go so deep to find wolves fucked livestock or wolves fucking depleted. It's hidden.
One of the answers I wanted to get here because I was lied to by the ODFW about this, and I say the ODFW, it's one employee running, or there's 4 employees running the social media platform.
Okay,
and whatever these silly guys told me this is that they don't do the surplus killing. They don't do kill for fun. Okay, I'm not going to say they kill for fun because I've never gone up to a wolf and said, hey, why did you do that? No. I'm going to go off of how many...
Maybe they have.
I'm going to go...
Maybe they have. You don't know.
I'm going to go off of how many lying bodies are there.
Did you ask this motherfucker at ODFW if he went and talked to the wolf?
I did not.
Well, then you don't fucking... Maybe he fucking watches a lot of Disney. He believes they talk.
I'm gonna go to the 23 dead sheep.
Let's go to it.
How many of them were eaten? I'm gonna go to the how many other. This isn't just an outlying occurrence. I don't believe on hanging your hat on an outlier. I don't believe on hanging your hat on a 230-pound wolf and saying that's how big they get.
Right.
Okay. I don't believe in that.
No, because there's always going to be that genetic gorilla,
exactly.
Right?
There's always going to be those instances that is an outlier. This sheep thing is not an outlier. There's tons of sheep instances. There's tons of cattle instances.
Tons.
Llamas, dogs. It's not. They do kill more than what they eat, and then some guys are going to say, "Well, yeah, because they get spooked off. They weren't done eating it." How the fuck do you know that? How do you know that? You don't.
And
you're back to being biased again.
It's a global problem.
Yeah,
it's not just here. All across Europe, it's the same fucking thing. They do the same thing. They waylay livestock.
Yeah,
they go through there and
it's easy. They can't defend themselves. They're in an enclosed area. Right. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yep, it is.
And for livestock, that's having like half of Roseburg High School come into your store and pickpocket. You're just getting stole from is basically what it is. And if people can understand that, cattle ranchers have a right to be pissed. They have a bunch of pickpocketers coming into their store and stealing their shit.
Yep,
is basically what it is. So that's something I wanted to battle back against because I felt wronged by the people that should be working for me, that pays their salary. We're getting told a bunch of stuff.
But you've got it again. It goes back to look at our commission shareholder. Whatever the fuck is told up there, it's going to go downhill. These okay. And man, I don't want to defend them in any way. I really don't, but I'm going to a little bit. So let's say you take maybe one of these queers that you're talking to. What? I can't say that on a podcast.
No, it's you saying it. It's not me.
Okay, so take one of these queers that fucking works down here at ODFW, and he's invested his money and time to become a wildlife biologist, right?
Okay.
And
good for him.
I'm sure that a lot of them really. I would think that they would go in thinking they're really going to be able to make a difference. That's what I would hope.
I would hope so. Yeah, okay. I love working with animals. I love hunting.
But then they get in there,
yeah,
and they find out, well, if you want to keep your job,
right,
and you got student loans and probably got kids and you got everything everybody else has got, right. If you want to keep your job, you're going to say it this way, and you're gonna say it that way. There's guys down there getting ready to retire. They're not going to screw themselves out of that.
Right.
They're not going to whistle blow. It's bullshit. The only hope we would ever have, and I don't see it ever happening, is to get educated people that are on our side involved and in key positions. But you know what? It's so liberalized in this state, I don't see anybody ever being able to infiltrate. Hell, if you're a senator from Douglas County and they don't like you because you're Republican, then you touch this broad's breast, or you whispered something in this chick's ear, or you did this or you did that, and get the fuck out of here. And maybe you did or maybe you didn't. Nobody else really knows whether you did or not, right?
Right.
But if they say you did, bam, it's the gospel.
Right.
You really got to be careful. I did say the queer you're talking to because I don't really give a fuck what people think of me. I really don't.
Right.
I really don't. You know that.
I know that.
But it irritates me to no end that they can come up with whatever fake crap or reasoning to make it sound like it's okay and blow us off. They just want to sweep us under the rug.
Right.
And we don't have enough hunters. It goes back to the smoke a pack a day guys. Where are you?
Right.
We don't have anybody stepping up to this. This is going to be a major shit show. If you think elk populations dropped in Idaho, wait till these fuckers get a good foothold over here in our coast range, because our rosies are done for. They're done.
They can't run like our...
I'm stoked that I've killed a couple Roosevelt elk in my life, because I don't think it's going to last. And then where are you going to go to get one?
New Zealand. They don't have any predators.
Oh, goddamn. I wonder how much they're going to pull out of the general fund to buy a fucking elk from New Zealand and have it shipped over here to replace it.
Right.
Think about that.
Well,
you see the ridiculousness of the entire thing?
I do. It's just it's a really vicious circle. I mean, it's just one end chasing the other. It's going to be really hard to keep up with. First of all, I want to get to some other questions here. You know, one of my listeners was asking, you know, who thought this was a good idea and why? Do you know anything on the advisory committee boards of why we should have wolves here? Why it's a good idea?
It all goes back to that bullshit science. No, I really don't. No, I don't know what the initial introduction was to help control elk population within Yellowstone. Okay, that's all I know.
Okay.
All right, and they did that. They did exactly what they thought they would do. Now, was it just one of those, hey man, let's fucking put wolves in Yellowstone, that'll help get the population down, let's thin them down because they're everywhere and they're kind of a nuisance, right? They're in the roads, or I don't know. I've never been to Yellowstone, so I don't know, right? Which kind of feel like I cheated myself. I wished I'd have went before the reintroduction and checked it out, and then I could go back today and look at it and see how fucked up it is or isn't. Right. Okay, so I really don't have a lot of room to talk there, but they accomplished exactly what their initial mission was. What did you guys think was going to happen after that?
Right.
That's where my beef is. How well thought out was this? Did you look at longevity? I mean, did you look at long term? And I mean long term, not 10 years, not 20 years, because we're 20 years into it, right? More than 20 now.
Right.
I'm talking about 50 years, 100 years. Did you look at long-term sustainability? There's no way they did.
Mm-mm.
But that's where it comes to theory, right? And you already know my thing on theory, but my theory is that it was implemented for a reason. Initially it was to reduce numbers with inside the park, right? That was their go-to. But I think there's a bigger picture here. It may be for gun control. I don't know. It may be to control the cattle industry. I mean, fucking Monsanto's the hugest corporation seed producer on the planet, right? Maybe they want that in the cattle industry. Maybe they want to control all the feed, right? I don't know.
We're getting into pretty far conspiracies there, though.
Well, yeah, but let's take a look at it. Is it really that much of a stretch? I mean, is it really? They're already dumb enough to shell out tons and tons and tons of money on a predator that's not doing them any good. It's costing them money. It's costing them money.
Right. No,
right?
Absolutely.
Instead of making them any.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Is it really that much of a stretch? You got a guy that says, hey, I want to expand national parks, and I don't want you putting a fucking foot in it.
Right.
They want to reintroduce grizzlies. We touched briefly on that.
We
okay,
did.
All across the Cascades. They want to make it so inhospitable that you're not gonna walk Fido up the North Umpqua here in a few years. You're not gonna do it.
Right.
You're not. Because them sons of bitches are gonna come out of nowhere and snatch your fucking dog.
Right.
And your dog ain't that tough. I don't care what you think he is. It ain't that tough. It killed a mastiff. They just killed a mastiff up there. That rogue pack killed a mastiff.
Did they?
Killed it.
I hadn't heard about that.
So your dog is a bitch. I don't care how badass he is. You ain't got a pit bull that's going to do it. My little healer ain't going to do it. Them little, what are those things?
Patterdales?
Well, they look like chihuahuas. Those things ain't going to do it.
You're telling me Tilly won't kill a cougar or a wolf?
I
or
love
a grizzly
those
bear?
dogs, but they ain't shit.
Well,
They're not even a Scooby Snap. But think about that. That's what they want, right? They already want to make a permit for you to access these parks. They're talking about that. Okay.
Right.
So think about this. Maybe this was way more well thought out than we realized. I don't know. Yes, it's a big, huge theory, and I just don't think it's that much of a stretch.
I could see that. I mean, for me, I'm just taking it right now at face value, and I think that they're just using emotion over science. I'm feeling that
Could be.
they're not. Yeah, it's just pure emotion over science. It's bro science in the professional community is what it is. It's like, bro, what can we do here to show that wolves are good? Well, let's put out a stupid video that tells us how good the beavers are doing, the fish are doing, the aspens are doing great. It's like the wolves is now the climate change of politics. Now it's
Right.
like, do I believe in climate change? Yeah, I believe in climate change. Shit's getting warmer. It's obvious. You can look at any of the thermometers anywhere or whatever. All the scientists pretty much agree on it throughout the world. Do I believe it's been politicized and we're being played and trying to be controlled by it? Yeah, I do.
Sure.
Okay.
Because what don't they do that in?
Exactly. I think that's climate change for me is now a wolf. Like, I don't believe half the shit I hear about it. Do I believe about wolf? Yeah, I believe a little bit about it, but I guess what I'm trying to say there is again the smokes and mirrors, and we need honesty is what we need. We need openness and transparency.
And how can somebody not really believe in climate change? It changes all the time. Shit, I didn't really believe in it, but you know what? The climate change, it cave in the fucking shop roof. You know?
I don't believe in Al Gore's global warming.
Of course
I don't
not.
believe in that.
No.
I don't believe the guy flying jets, buying beachfront properties, telling us we're all going to be underwater is a good thing. I think that guy's probably one of the biggest all-time pieces of shit, in my opinion. But anyways, that's way off topic. We'll go back onto the wolves here. And you're talking about, you started getting into the recruitment of the animals again. Right. So I want to get into some more science and studies that were done by the folks that claim that they're doing, they only kill the weak and they only kill the old and sick and tired. And so for you, do you have any data on or anything from the cattle or ranchers that say, here's how many calves we're losing over what we did before?
They are definitely, the recruitment is down because the birthing rates are down because the cows are being harassed, right? So they're obviously having problems during...
Do you have a percentage of birth?
I don't. Okay. I don't have a percentage because I don't know how many of these ranches are doing studies. So I don't think it would be fair to go off of one ranch, right? But the weights were down 12% on the study that they did. I do not remember exactly what the birth rate was, but the weight, 12%. Okay, that doesn't seem like a lot, but we're talking about one ranch. Yeah, 12% is quite a bit. You see what I mean? Because how many did they lose? How many did they actually end up taking in? And then their weights were down 12%.
Right.
You see what I mean? So that's just something on top of it, right? The more cows you have, probably the more it would be down, across the average. Recruitment, let's go to that. You're talking about the weak and the sick. Well, fuck yeah. Your recruitment's going to be piss poor because your goddamn babies are weak.
I've got a couple charts here. I'll hand you one. And we went through this earlier.
Right.
This is something that I got from a study, and I'd be happy to supply sources to folks that want them if they want to get a hold of me. And I'll even post this on Instagram. Is it shows on average in the area was parts of Wyoming. Looks like the upper northeast or northwestern part of Wyoming.
Okay.
And it spanned a bunch of area: Yellowstone, Montana, parts of Idaho, a big ass area. And they're showing that wolves, without being in the area, you were getting an average of a gain of 1.02 added to the herd per cow. So a cow was having an average of one calf that was surviving.
Right.
Just over, barely over. And then with the wolves, you're looking at 0.965. So now we're going backwards for the recruitment. That is probably, I mean, I don't know if that's also including everything, the birth rates, if that's including, I imagine that's including everything. But from what I've read, in other studies, wolves have a 7% effect on the recruitment rate overall, and this would put it right about 7%.
Right. Now, what's the time frame? Is this just in 1 year study?
This is over, I believe, 20 years.
Okay.
1980 to current, almost.
Okay, so it's average 7% downhill slide every year.
Right off the top. That's not including the ones they're taking in the herds during the winters, the cows, all that stuff. That's
the
not including
bulls
the
that
bulls.
are getting hung up in the snow and
right.
can't get out. Yeah,
we'll get into that here in a second. So yeah, let's just take it backwards now to where in the wolves that are prevailing in the areas, you're going backwards now at 0.965% off the top. That is your regrowth. That is not sustaining. You're going backwards on that.
Absolutely.
Okay. What else do you need to know? I mean,
you don't. That just tells you that eventually you're going to be out of elk and have to buy them from somebody, right?
And then you can see there's a direct correlation because a lot of guys, the Oregon Wild folks, the guys with the bro science in the communities with letters after their names want to say that there's no correlation between wolves and that they strengthen the herds of the elk, and there might be a slight downturn off the beginning, but then they'll bounce up because they'll be a stronger herd, right? They're getting rid of the sick and the weak and the hoof rot and this whatever brain diseases they have.
Right.
Okay. Well, this study shows that's completely bullshit. And as soon as the wolves start coming in here, the elk herds, like I said before, at a 40 to 50% clip, some studies are 30% clips, you're decreasing the elk population. And this one it depleted over 15,000 in 20 years. This study. And this is outside the Yellowstone study. This is a completely independent study.
Right.
15,000 in this one study in 20 years. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yep. And that is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states with wolves. And without wolves. There's multiple areas without wolves. I mean, they have it contrasted here. The areas without wolves, they are growing. This one grew by 10,000. This area grew by 10,000 without wolves. This area went down. Let's see, it was at 45, and now it's down to about 20,000.
So about 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. What else do you need to know? I mean,
you don't need to know anything else.
This thing that, in the ODFW wants to tell you, well...
But see, that to me is more scientific than any of the bullshit they're doing because it's showing you the chart, right?
Yeah.
It's telling you right there, this is what we're looking at. So if you can't figure out that, oh, shit, there's not going to be enough sustainability long-term right there...
Right.
Then obviously you paid way too much for that education.
Well,
right?
I want to bring some things that ODFW, the keypad warriors on there have been saying is, unfortunately, wolves. Here's a zinger that they used across multiple social media platforms when people were talking shit to the ODFW. They're saying, well, unfortunately, wolves don't see political boundaries or political lines and political boundaries, state lines and political boundaries. They're going to go.
So you're telling us that you're being political.
Yeah. Basically, they're saying wolves are going to do what they're going to do and deal with it. Basically, they're just saying whatever. And so I kind of, to me, that's kind of a dick comment. Why are you saying that people that are paying your wages? First of all, don't be a smart ass. Second of all, they asked this guy where his degree was from. I was like, really?
Right.
So if he doesn't have a degree, and that's where I'm getting this.
Right.
If you don't have a degree, we
not
don't give a fuck.
Well, no. If you don't have a degree, they don't think that you're intelligent enough to understand what's really going on here.
This guy was busting their balls.
But at the same time, that the initial line, they don't have political boundaries. That's the same thing as them starting most of these meetings with, hey, It doesn't matter whether if you're pro-wolf or if you're anti-wolf, it doesn't matter, because guess what? You've got wolves.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it, and you're going to have them, and you're going to learn to deal with them. That's what they are. That's the openers to every one of these livestock meetings. You're going to learn to deal with them.
Right.
Well, fuck off.
Well,
that's what I always want to say, but then I get escorted
how many?
out the door.
How many meetings have you been kicked out of?
I don't know. I can't remember, but I know that I've been to over 30 different meetings, and they know who I am. So enough.
Well, I'd have to agree with them. They're here. I mean, the question is,
well, yeah.
The question is, one of my listeners, Cam, great guy. I think it's Cam Newton or Cam Newton. I forget his name. Cam. Anyways,
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton listens to this show.
Shit?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm full of shit. I forget his last name. But Cameron. Sorry, I forgot your last name, dude. But he was wanting to know, why is this a good idea? And I think we should be asking, what are we going to do? Because right now that's a proactive approach. We're past proactive. We have to now be reactive.
Right.
And
well,
proactive.
I'm not the one to ask that, because you already know my outlook on the way the world should work. So I don't want to get into that.
But I want to move that mindset of his is, why is this a good idea versus, well, they're already here. And just like you said, they're already here. We need to learn how to deal with them. We got to figure out what the game plan is. We got to figure out where our stance is.
Well, right now there's no game plan, because they're still under federal protection, and we can't do anything about legally can't do anything about it.
At what level do they become off that list?
Well, they have to have 4 breeding pairs, and
what?
Yes,
we're way past that.
On the west side.
Oh my gosh, who created that rule?
That's been the rule.
Ah, Jesus.
So now, okay, there's a strip that 395 runs up Idaho, Oregon.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So 395 runs up there. Anything east of that, if a rancher looks out there and sees wolves harassing his cattle, he can shoot the wolf.
Okay.
Okay. On the west side of that magical line, you can't.
Really?
Okay. But it's almost there. It's just right there. Okay. And on the west side, you can't do. There's not 4 breeding pairs. Maybe.
Okay.
Right? Okay. That's what they say. So until they have all this, they're done in what they call phases. So phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 is almost complete. And phase 3 would be having the 4 breeding pairs on the west side. Then and only then will they consider allowing open hunting.
We're close to open hunting.
ODFW, that's what the guy down there in Eagle Point, he was all about. He goes, yeah, you guys, pretty quick, you're going to be able to hunt wolves. Well, who gives a fuck? I don't want to hunt them. Okay, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But he was so excited that, hey, we're going to open it up. Dude, that's just more revenue for you, for us to go out there with a wolf tag that we ain't never going to be able to fill, because you can't fucking see them. Right?
Yeah.
Are you going to allow us to hunt them with poison bait? You going to allow us to hunt them with spotlights?
Right.
No. You going to allow? Okay. Take this into consideration.
Maybe the Indians.
What are two really kind of famous places in Oregon? And I don't give a shit who you are. If you're a hunter or a wildlife enthusiast, you stop to look at them because it's fun. Jewel Meadows and Deans Creek, the elk viewing areas, right there in Reedsport.
Yep.
How long you think that's going to last when wolves get in there?
That's a good point. I never even thought of that.
I don't want to go look at fucking dogs.
Right.
I go down Saving Grace and look at all the dogs I want. I can go right in my living room and look at all the fucking dogs I want, and more than I want on most days, right? Any dog owner is going to think that at some time.
Same here.
I don't care. I don't want to look at them. I want to go by there and see all the bulls in velvet.
Yeah.
Or all the cows with their little bitty spotted calves doing whatever they do. That's what I want to see. That's what everybody pulls over on the side of the highway to look at.
Right.
Not a bunch of fucking wolves.
Right.
But mark my words, that's not going to be there. Those places are no longer going to exist, because those are going to be key places that a wolf can go in there and just waylay them.
So based off of your 4 breeding pairs of what you're saying, I bet in the next 5 years we're hunting wolves. We've got to be.
I would say, yeah.
We've got to be.
But,
we've already got 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would say within the next 5 years, we'll probably be hunting wolves. Within the next 15, we probably won't be hunting anything else.
You think? Well, I want to get into that. Did we already get into the 7% clip? We did. We started hitting into that. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's go to the Yellowstone real quick. We'll go back to that study. Grizzly bears are over there.
Right.
They take a 7% clip off of the fawns, or calves, I should say, calves off of the elk. Add in the wolves. Now you're up to 14%.
Right.
They're wanting to bring the grizzlies over here too. So now we're, we could be 1 year away, 10 years away from that. I don't know. Right now it's just it's a twinkle in somebody's eye. So
it'll happen. But what else are grizzlies doing?
What do you mean?
Every year somebody's getting fucked up.
Yeah, because you can't hunt them.
Well, but think about that. Every year somebody's going out there to hunt or hike or do something, that they pay taxes. They're going out to enjoy that freaking national park, and they're getting fucked up by a grizzly bear. Why?
Yeah, we had a couple people get killed last year, and by cougars.
I mean, think about it. Yeah, okay, that's a great example too. So this gal here up at Mount Hood, little gal goes out backpacking by herself, gets whacked off the trail by a cat. They found her backpack in the trail, right? Mm-hmm. And then find her body a few hundred yards or whatever. They found her body off of it where he buried her. Well, it tells me that she obviously saw the cat ahead of time. I think she threw her pack. I think she did everything she was supposed to do to try and keep from getting exactly what happened to her, right?
Right.
And so what does ODFW do? They use hounds. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can't, but they use hounds. They go in there, they tree the first fucking cat they tree, 60-pound female, and they kill it.
Right.
How's that the responsible one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell me how they they generally stay in the same area. You can fuck off.
Did it have the remains still in there?
No. They never came back with genetic testing saying, yeah, this was the cat, right?
Really?
Because after 2 weeks, why would it have anything in it, right?
They just went out and killed the cat to make everybody happy.
Just to make everybody happy. Bullshit. That doesn't tell me that you got the right cat. That tells me that we got a problem. This gal can't go out, and I don't care which side of the wildlife she's on, she can't go out and enjoy it by herself because she ain't tough enough.
Or the biker in
Washington, yeah.
Yeah, which attacked 2 people.
Well, yeah, but that's because he was biking with the wrong guy.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to tell you what. We ever out together and a cat attacks me and you try and run him, I'll fucking shoot your ass. You fuck me like that. You don't help me fight this cat. You're going to be the dead one.
I believe in you. And I'll believe in you all the way back to the trek. You could be like that guy in Colorado. You could choke it out.
I don't know.
I think it was like 60 or 80 pounds or something like that.
I mean, it may be possible. All I know is that I don't care who you are, you better be ready to fight because it's not going to be fun.
No.
At all.
No.
And I don't care what it is, cat, wolf, bear, it's just all not good.
Right.
So,
well, I want to go to the northeast part of Oregon here where, because I saw this on the social media platforms, ODFW is saying if wolves are so bad, then why are our best units in Oregon have wolves? That was paraphrasing, but
how do they? What do they mean by their best units? What's constituting
the units that are doing the best in Oregon? The trophy units in Oregon. Why do they have wolves if wolves are so bad?
Well, wait a minute. How are they coming up with it's the best unit?
Well, you got.
He's just saying it's
Mount
the best
Emily,
unit. Well, how is that the best unit?
You got all the prized units, the big bull units, right? The ones the most coveted tags.
Okay.
Why are those doing so good?
Are they doing good?
I don't know. I would say probably not. I would say we don't hunt those. We severely, to make them a trophy area, we don't hunt those
we do
the rest of the
you only
state.
get 10 tags for Mount Emily, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
but my question is how are they the best units? How are they doing good? Are you just saying that, or is there some kind of data to say, hey, our elk numbers are way up here?
Right.
Because otherwise, shut the fuck up. You're just saying they're doing good. Because everybody wants to hunt it doesn't mean that it's doing good.
Right.
I mean, jeez. Okay, let's take the fucking rogue unit, black-tailed deer. Mm-hmm. Who the fuck wouldn't want to kill a big old whopper buck out of there? But guess what? It ain't doing good.
Right.
They ain't there no more.
That's like having a wolf in Tioga, which I'm sure there's probably a wolf somewhere in Tioga.
Well, sure, that Curry County fucker's probably over there now.
Yeah. And saying that, look how good that unit is doing. Well, I'm sorry, you haven't given it enough time to absolutely unwind. Because those units over there, that's where most of the population of the wolves are in Oregon, is that northeast part, I believe.
Right.
And all I hear about are guys that hunt that area, have been hunting it their whole lives, and now they're looking for a different area to hunt. So you can't tell me it's sunshines and rainbows for the elk over there and for the hunters.
That just proves that they're saying it's the best unit because it's a coveted tag. Right?
Yeah,
it's a coveted tag.
Because they're above objectives, I think is what it is.
Well, are they, though? Well, show me that you're above objectives. I want to see that. I want to know that for a fact because, again, anybody can type out. We've already talked about that. Right. Hey, it's the best unit, so now we just got to make sure that this looks like it's the best unit, right? Well, that's not fucking hard.
I think that there's a lot that goes into making an objective unit or an objective, right?
Right.
Who's to say that we can't change the objective, change the goal to make sure the wolves aren't making us go under objective? We can lower the goal.
Well, sure. I'm sure they do, right?
I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm just saying that to me does not prove – I'm like you. That doesn't prove anything to me.
No. That
wolves are a positive for a unit when literally every other circumstance that I have seen – especially in Idaho, Montana, the Yellowstone area, low, like you were talking about, has been a negative impact for the wolves.
There is nothing positive that I have seen, period, from this wolf reintroduction yet. Nothing.
I've seen
nothing.
I've seen an increase in revenue according to the Yellowstone Park because people are flying here to see wolves to Yellowstone. So they're getting more revenue for people wanting to see wolves, I guess, has been one maybe benefit, which I don't know if you can prove or not.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Well, let's go back to the fucking look up wolves on the internet web. Boom, boom, boom. Look how great they are.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go see wolves.
I could see that.
Think about it.
People from other countries.
If you're in New York City and you ain't never seen it, nothing but a Bichon Frise that gets walked by the freaking city dog walker, how you want to see it? You want to see a wild one in the wild, right? You want to see what a wolf really looks like. You don't know, and I'll say this because it's true. People from the big cities, they really do control a lot of things. I was in the Marine Corps with a guy, and I'm going to say this, and it has nothing to do with the wolf, but he was an inner city kid. Loved this motherfucker, Kendrick Salas. I know you ain't listening to this, but I love you, brother. He was a tough kid. He fought valiantly. I love this dude, right? We were on a bus on Camp Pendleton coming back from Oceanside, California one time, and he looks at me. He's like, God, they all called me Rod, right? Short for Sherrard. So he called me Rod. He's like, God damn, Rod, you shit your pants. And he's holding his face, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, God dang, what'd you eat? It was a skunk. And I said, what? Are you talking about that fucking skunk? And he kind of looks at me, and he's like, what? I said, that's a fucking skunk. I said, have you never smelled a skunk? And he's like, nah, that's what they smell like.
What?
And I was like, bam, this motherfucker's never smelled a skunk. It honestly,
two different worlds.
It was a weird day for me because I really kind of felt like, I liked the dude anyway, but I felt bad for him. Like, damn, you lived on a piece of concrete so much your whole entire life that you don't even know what fucking nature smells like. Some of it don't smell good. You see what I mean?
Right.
But now think about that. That's one guy, one young dude that was 20 years old, had never been out of Chicago, never had experienced anything. There's millions of them.
Right.
Millions of them. And granted, not all of them give a flying fuck about a wolf, right? But some of them do. Some of them just want to see it. Some of them think they're getting educated by getting on the interweb and reading this stuff,
right?
And then going and visiting Yellowstone. Oh, God, it's just like they say. Look at them. They're beautiful.
Yeah, look at the Espens.
They talk on fucking Disney shows. So they think that they're friendly and that you can pet them. And look at the morons at Yellowstone every year. Hey, I'm going to dance with buffaloes.
Oh,
sure
yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
Right.
But you're only going to do it once, you fucking idiot. I mean, think about it. That's the kind of world that we really are dealing with, that these people don't. First off, they don't respect it. They don't understand it. But yet they get to make decisions on it.
Right.
It's not really, it's not, God, that's not even reality, man. But that's what we're living.
Well, we have Portland, and that's what we need to have. And I heard from a I would call him successful because he got elected here in Oregon. He's a Republican, which is pretty damn successful for a Republican in Oregon.
Sure.
He said if you don't have the votes, have the knowledge. And that stuck with me. And because we sure as hell don't have the votes, but we have the knowledge, we have the science. We just have to get it out there to the people that are voting and get past that humanization of the wolf, of whatever you call that word, of this making Balto or making all these things. We gotta quit making these things so human like nature. It's really screwing us in the end.
Well, I think one place to start, honestly, and I've said it before, you've heard me talk about it in the shop, quit talking shit on Facebook. Quit saying, look at me, because you're not that cool. Right. You're not that great. I don't care what you've taken. There's somebody that's done it better and more, right? You're never going to be Will Primos or whatever you want to be in your head. I don't know what these guys think. You're not that important, and you're less important to the hunting community as a whole if you don't come and do something about it. Show up to the meetings. You don't even have to say anything. You still got a voice because you're a number. We have to, at some point, come together and throw a huge raging fit, because if we don't, it's all going away. I see it going away because I don't see anybody doing it. Right. I mean, some of our, I'm not going to call out any names because it's just not good to, but
there won't solve anything.
There are people out there that are huge in the hunting community that are well respected, and they do nothing great. They make a video, or they have whatever, but what else?
Right.
You have the ability, being somebody that everybody looks up to, of getting that gathering that we need to go. And I'm not saying go up there full camo, our bows and our guns, and act like a fucking idiot. Go up there and say, listen, we're paying for this, and we want answers, and we want shit figured out right now.
Right.
Today. Right? We have to do that. If we don't, it's all going away. Only the rich are going to be doing it. And if you don't think that's true, take a good look at Europe. If you ain't got big dollars, and most of us don't, you're not hunting.
Well, that's something that I've wanted to get better at, is this right here. This is the first time I've actually, I would say, have gotten political. And unfortunately, that's another whole pet peeve of mine. This should not be political.
No, absolutely not.
It should not even be voted on. It should be professions. It's kind of like the Supreme Court being the Supreme Court. Why is that political? Shouldn't they just follow the law?
Absolutely.
Shouldn't they just read it and say, yep, this is the law. I'm not going to twist it and interpret it. And that's why it's so important to put people on the justice system that believe the same way you do, because they're going to find that, and then they're going to twist it, and then they're going to pass Roe v. Wade. And then if you get the right people on there, they'll overturn Roe v. Wade, or they'll take your guns away.
But that's what this whole world has done, right?
Exactly. It's been politicized.
They find that gray area.
Yeah.
It'll be black and fucking white. It's, for me, kind of like the Bible, right? Why are you interpreting it, bitch? It says this. Exactly. You're saying it says this. Right. So it irritates me, right? I can't go to a church because this dude is twisting it.
Right.
Okay. The same thing happens in Supreme Court, in politics every day. The same thing's happening with our wildlife.
It is.
It's black and white. We see what needs to be done. We see what's being done. But you guys are going to twist it a little bit in your favor. And for what? And God, you're working yourself right out of a fucking job. What are you going to biology? Just wolves?
Right.
And then what happens? What happens when the ungulate populations are depleted so horrendously, less tag allotments, then that's when we're talking about pay to play, right?
Right.
That's when it all starts to happen. And then you're going to be paying to play.
Right.
It's not that far off. It really isn't. It's just right around the corner.
Well, when you start having folks that go and they graduate with a wolf conservation biology degree,
right?
The name of that degree right there tells you it's bullshit.
Well, yeah, what the hell is that?
Some chick that was just being a douche on Instagram arguing and saying, I just got my degree and I'm doing my thesis and all this other bullshit. And you'd be surprised what information's out there. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised because I know you guys are doing some cockamamie science out there. and your name of your degree, that should just be biologist or a wolf biologist. But
that U.S. Fish and Wildlife guy, he brought up that point, right? So we have the ag guy that brought all this shit and all this data that they had comprised, right? And hell, he was up there for an hour and a half talking. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife guy says, hey, there's also been studies that say exactly opposite of what he said. And he says, you just have to go look for them. They're out there. And so that's what got the ball rolling for me to get booted, because that was the second question. The first question I asked him was, do you believe in God? And he said, well, no, the first one was, do you believe in long-term sustainability? And he didn't have an answer. Then I asked him if he believed in God, and he says, well, what does that have to do with wolves? I said, well, because if it doesn't, I don't give a shit about your, I swear to God, we're not transporting them statement. It doesn't mean anything. And then thirdly, if there's really studies that do the opposite of what he said, I said, can I ask you a question? Did you know you were coming here tonight? Yes, I did. Then where in the fuck are those studies?
Right.
Because you knew what this was all about. That's when... That was one of the meetings. That's when they were like, because I start dropping F-bombs. I can't help it. It's just, jarhead or whatever. It doesn't matter. They can't handle that, because now it's like, well, fuck, man, I didn't bring it. He's right. So let's get him the fuck out of here before he's right on something else.
Exactly.
Right?
I feel like once you start actually making points, whether you're doing it right or you're maybe being a little over abrasive about it, they shut you up.
Absolutely.
They don't want to hear it.
They don't.
And so... I want to go to, why are they holding these meetings at Thursday? I went through the records of the annals of the ODFW website, and I couldn't find a meeting that wasn't held on a Thursday between 1 and 5 p.m.
Right. No, you're not gonna.
Why are they doing that?
I don't know. They do the same thing with this Wolf Advisory Board bullshit, right? It's random days, Thursday, Friday, sometime in the afternoon, like.
Let's do it on, say, a Tuesday at 8 when everybody's off work. They can go, or let's do it during the weekend. We'll get great turnout.
Right.
Unfortunately, the ones that like to hunt and fish are probably working and they can't go.
Right.
You're not making it conducive to getting the feedback. You're only getting the feedback from the people that go work for these bullshit organizations. Where's all the money going? Well, it's paying for them to be there while everybody else is working.
Right. But
maybe. I don't know. I'm jumping to conclusions there.
Why they're doing it,
but,
right?
Yeah. Because I feel like that's what they're doing, is they're avoiding the real conversation.
Because who shows – okay, first off, I have my own business, so I can I shouldn't do it, but I can call my own shots and just say, fuck it, I'm not going to mount this because I got to go to this meeting and I want to see what's about, right? So I sacrifice.
Right.
I sacrifice.
You're paying to go to that meeting.
I'm paying. I'm paying. I'm losing.
Exactly.
And paying, right?
Right.
The only other people that show up there are people with vested interest doing the same thing, or that dude with the dreadlocks and no shoes, hippie motherfucker that doesn't do anything anyway, and we're probably paying for him anyways, right?
Right.
Those are the only people showing up. If you're a regular dude, maybe you, I don't know, maybe you set chokers. You can't go up there and say, hey, there's a wolf meeting, dude. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because he's going to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
I get that.
Right.
But I'm not the only one that has the ability to sacrifice a little bit.
You're not the only Wayne. Wayne Endicott has been doing a lot for us.
Yeah, he has.
And shout out to him.
Yeah.
We need more Waynes.
He has been.
He's really stepped up recently.
And he's been around for a while. I just don't think he really voiced it as much. Maybe. Fuck, at this point, he's no spring chicken either.
Right.
That's the other thing. Him and I are similar in age, probably. Right. I think he's probably older, but not by much.
Not by much.
The other thing, we've seen what this state can be. We've seen it, like in I don't know if it was the best ever, but it was pretty damn good. We've done some blacktail, podcasts, and I remember just really hating it that you says, oh, he's a monster, whatever you said, the opener. I was like, well, but you got to understand that I started hunting these things with a bow and figuring them out when you could fuck it up. Mm-hmm. You could do it 3 and 4 times a day sometimes. Just if it was a stellar day, shit, you might call in that many bucks.
That's crazy.
It's not like that anymore.
3 or 4 a year for me. 2 a year is good for me if I call them in.
Sure, but what I'm saying is,
right,
if you can't figure it out after fucking up a whole bunch, then you're never gonna, and you probably shouldn't be hunting anyway. So it helped me later on, right?
Right.
Now, I've been on this mule deer hunting kick because blacktail hunting sucks.
Right.
What's the point? Why should I work that hard for a maybe? I might see one today. See one, hell, I still got to be able to shoot him.
Right.
I may not be able to. So I've changed it. And I'll tell you what, Oregon keeps going the way it is. I'm not even going to be giving them my dollars anymore. I'll go pay to play. That's what I'll do. Every couple of years, I'll go, I don't know, fuck, if I want to kill a Midwestern whitetail, I'll just go do it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Why give them any more money? They're not doing anything for me. I don't see enough people jumping up saying, hey, you know what? I'm on your side. Let's go change this and turn it around. I can't just keep doing it on my own. I'm getting nowhere. Right? Me, Wayne Endicott, 4 or 5 other guys out there, it's not enough.
No,
it
not
isn't
even close.
It's not. It can't do anything.
Well, I want to go over a few other things that will get you going here because I know you got to get on the road here, Wayne. But you know, there's certain states like Alaska where they have wolves, they coincide with wolves, and I believe that they're making it work over there for the most part. It's a destination spot for most hunters, and so I believe that we can. With good management, not with this shit we're doing. I believe we can keep Oregon a decent. I even think right now it's even a decent, great state to hunt. It's not one of the top 10. I don't think.
Well, I don't know that you
Western
can,
hunters, but
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can say it that way, and I'll tell you why. So you can't compare Alaska to Oregon. First off, you'd have to know populations. And all kinds of populations to try and base that on, hey, they're able to do it. Why can't we?
Right.
Because maybe I know for a fact that there are certain areas in Alaska that are just decimated from wolves, right? So that's not really fair to say that, yeah, they can coexist with a wolf. They're doing it, whether they really can or not. Right. We don't know that. And what's their hunter population? What's their ungulate population of different species? We were already in the tank. We were already having problems with the frickin' cats, right?
Right.
And now we're adding another one, and then they want to add another one, and we still haven't cleaned up the shit show that we have from the other ones, right?
Right.
And Alaskans are a different breed of people. Oregonians are pussies compared to them. They will throw a fit if you try and take their shit. They want to hunt. They want to fish. They want to live off the grid. They want to do things that we don't really do. I mean, I would love to live off the grid. Unfortunately, some of us end up doing dumb shit like getting married or something, and that ain't never going to work because she don't want to, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then after the little experience of not having power for 15 days, I thought, yeah, maybe living off the grid kind of would suck, right?
Right.
So, but let's think about that, right? It's 2 totally different worlds.
It's 2 different worlds, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maybe paint a possible positive picture for our future here.
Sure.
And I guess the optimism in me is coming out and saying, you know, I believe that we can still make it work because I have to. If you just say fuck it, then no one's going to fight for anything, you know.
Well, you have to. You're right. And you know what? By doing nothing, you're not going to do shit.
Right.
You have to try something.
Right.
And we are going to have to control them.
Right.
In some kind of way, shape, or form, and figure it out. I don't really have the answers to that because I don't know how prolific they are going to be before we're going to have the ability to do that. See what I mean?
I think if we go off of the Montana 25 to 35% more than what they're telling us, we're probably closer to 200 wolves.
Oh, I guarantee you.
In Oregon.
What did you say? It was a 36% increase when? 2015? 16.
Let's take a look here.
In Oregon.
2015, it was a 36% increase, 11 breeding pairs. And then 2018, 137 wolves, 16 packs from 12, 4 or more in a pack. 8 other groups of 2 to 3 packs, and then confirmed 15 of 16 packs are breeding pairs. So
we're well over 200, brother.
Yeah.
We have to
I believe that.
We have to be.
Well, I saw a video of, and granted, it's a video of somebody posting it, and it could be complete bullshit, but basically the video was, here's a pack of 13 that doesn't exist in Oregon. I was like, well, I believe that. None of them were collared. None of them were collared.
Sure.
I was like, okay, well, I believe that.
Yeah, and so if we know that we have 124 and there's only half of
137,
68 of them collared. Okay, only monitoring 14, by the way, but 68 of those 134 collared. That leaves plenty of them not collared and not monitored and have no idea of what has grown from that.
Especially when you have 8 packs of 2 to 3 running around. And they're saying, here's my problem with the breeding pair. It doesn't take into consideration, are they capable? It takes into consideration how many pups made it.
Right.
Then that, to me, is bullshit science.
It is bullshit science.
Because what if one pup made it? I'm sorry. That's still a successful breeding pair.
That's the way it goes, though, right?
Right.
You're not always.
That's the bro science I'm talking about in the pro wolf community. I'm like, okay, you're skewing the numbers here.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to bring up before we get in here is with the depredation, of the calf mortality rate being 7% with wolves. And they say they only take out the sick and the weak and the tired. During the winter in the northern range of the Yellowstone, there's strong research and many researchers that believe that a bull that hangs out in his winter area after he's lost 20% of his body and strength and is depleted after the rut are 6 times more likely to be eaten by a wolf than any other elk. And it's because they hang out up top, because maybe they're theorizing here, but maybe they can't make it down to the lower agricultural grounds because that will kill them. They need to feed now. And they need the feed where they're at. And plus, there's less pressure, and there's still feed there because all the other cows and the calves go down. So there's multiple reasons for them to stay up high, but that's also an easy target for a wolf. As soon as they hit that deeper snow, they're screwed. They're gone.
Right.
Corey Jacobson, I think he ran across 6 or 7 big bulls on his hunt in Idaho. He was looking for a wolf. And through following the wolves around, he ran across big bull. They weren't killing rags. They weren't killing little ones. It was big, healthy bulls that he was chasing around, I think, that bow season. And so, yeah, I guess at that time, that's one of the weakest elk in the herd because they're tired old bulls. I mean, they got their asses kicked or were handing out cans of whoop-ass during the rut.
Right.
They got no energy. They can't even make it down to the agricultural grounds. They just have enough energy to feed and wait till the snow pushes them down. And I believe that is another skewed bull, bro science. They're only killing the weak and the young, and I just don't buy it. That's not
right. And
that's
actually,
not true. It's not accurate.
Don't you think that would over time just completely kill the genetics or possibility of genetics?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Or your bull to cow ratio is going in the tank.
Right.
In the tank.
Right.
Because those younger bulls, typically, I found that they hang out and they go down with the herds. It's the bigger, older, mature bulls.
Right.
And we have areas in Northeast Oregon where I think that that same scenario could happen. Over here on the coast, it's a different ballgame. It's just theorizing what would happen over here during the winter. It's not even a big deal for Rosies over here. They have feed year-round over here.
They do.
They don't get snowed out.
But that doesn't mean that they're not going to kill them anyway.
The big bulls?
They're going to kill whatever they can get
their
lips on.
Yeah. I'm talking this study would relate to our eastern friends on the eastern side of the state. So, there's plenty of examples where I believe the ODFW isn't being upfront with everything, where the wolf community or even the feds or whatever state, biologists are being the bro science guys on this one. Is there anything as far as meetings coming up that somebody could plug into? Where would you get the information to go fight these things?
Well, they stopped handing. So I used to get information through. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, and it's so stupid. His first name's Bill, but he's big into Oregon Hunters Association, and so Bill Jackson, he lives up by me.
I know Bill.
Okay, so you know Bill.
Yeah.
So he's a great dude.
Dude, yep.
So he just called and talked to me not too long ago. Long story short.
Shout out to Bill.
He was the one that would, because he's retired, was able to keep me informed through OHA of these meetings. Well, they stopped sending information to Oregon Hunters Association because they didn't want to showing up anymore.
Who? Or the ODFW?
Well, most of these are ag agencies that are holding the meetings, because the biggest problem right now is with the livestock. And the only reason I say that is because they're the ones throwing the fit, right? Hey, we're fucking losing cows.
Coordinating these meetings with the ranchers.
Yes.
Okay.
And so those would be sent out in blips because Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, they have to have a guy there too, right? And OHA would pick up on it and then they'd go. Well, now that no longer happens.
Right.
So you have to go through alternative routes. You have to stay privy to agricultural meetings and pay attention to them, and I can't catch them all, or be part of Oregon Wild. You'll find out all you want, right? So I'm not going to say nothing there, but I have been able to find out about a few meetings through that because I have a friend who's super liberal. Yeah, I even have liberal friends. Can you believe it?
Look at you. You're open-minded.
I love that person. I've known them for 25 years, and I'm not going to not be their friend just because they think, Donald Trump's a douche, because that's pretty much all they ever talk about.
A large part of my family in-law are super liberal. Like, all my in-laws are liberal, minus Kim's side.
It is what it is. Yeah. We have to learn how to.
Which is fine. It's fine.
You've got to learn how to play together a little bit and just kind of. I like to say that more conservative people do a better job of letting shit roll off their back. My friend would say no. She is a neurologist. She's a brain scientist. Oh. Okay, so she's big into the science shit anyway.
Yeah.
But the great thing is that she is a Coos County person.
Oh.
Who also gets it a little bit, right?
Is open-minded to the
more open-minded to things, and so.
Yeah.
I think it's huge being able to, confide in somebody else who will help you kind of get information that you might need because, I'm not going to be able to show up on Oregon Wild page, right? They're going to sniff you out in a minute. Well, this guy's a taxidermist. What's he doing on our page?
Right.
So, and I also think that social media is kind of a bullshit place to have these arguments, man. It really is.
I don't feel like
getting
it's
us
doing
anywhere.
Yeah, I say it's not doing anything. It's just an echo chamber that no one that actually matters is listening to.
Right.
I mean,
I don't even read half the shit anymore because it's pathetic and it's stupid and it's ignorance thrown everywhere.
Yeah.
I do follow the Oregon Wolf Education page, and because they'll give blips, hey, so-and-so just got hit, such and such just got hit, but it's already been made public, right? Mm-hmm. Now I have the ability to see things before the public gets it.
Right.
So, unfortunately, I can't really say much because I said I wouldn't. And so, and honestly, there's nothing right now pending that's that big of a deal that nobody else doesn't know anything about, right? I knew that they'd found these wolves up Toketee way before it came out on social media.
Right.
Which I didn't say anything to anybody. I don't think it matters right now. They're there.
They're not going anywhere.
No.
Telling people's not going to do anything.
We already knew that they were there.
Right.
I'm just waiting for the fucking email that, hey, they're down here in Glide waylaying sheep.
Right.
Because it's coming any day. Any day.
I'm waiting for on the west side of I-5 to get that email or get that news
Curry
story.
County. That's it.
Ah, yeah, you're right. I'm talking about like Douglas County. Like,
well, yeah,
Drain, your neck of the woods.
I don't want to see them there.
It's coming.
Well, I know,
but there's a lot of people, right? Well, there's not a lot of people in Drain.
You want to come smoke a pack a day?
Oh, you could have it mounted and gutted before anybody would even know.
Oh my God! I shot this in Idaho.
Exactly.
On my deer tag.
On my deer tag, yeah. Which I actually heard my first wolf when I went to Idaho. It only took 3 days of hunting to hear a wolf.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it wasn't a coyote.
Was it as magical as you always hoped it to be?
No, and I can't prove anything because I didn't see it. But it was like a deep, deep, deep coyote, and it was like, ooh, and then just kind of faded off. And
that
it was
didn't
like
sound that deep.
Way over there. It was like way down there. It wasn't like the howl. It was like wasn't like a yipper. It wasn't a coyote. I can sure as hell tell you it wasn't a coyote. I've heard those things pretty much my whole life when I'm out in the woods. This was a big-ass dog. Sound like a wolf to me from a guy who's never heard one. I immediately went, that's a wolf. And my dad's like, that was probably a wolf. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. And Yeah, we didn't see a lot of deer in that area, but we did see one pack of elk and or pack of elk, I'm talking wolves, one herd of elk, and we heard some wolves. But
well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad
I would have
thing.
shot it because with a deer tag you can tag a wolf.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I would too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that we have to really start thinking. Eastern hunters do really good at that. They will shoot a predator over a deer any day, all day long. Coyote comes through, they're shooting that son of a bitch. Bobcat comes through, they're getting rid of him, and we don't do that. I mean,
I'm guilty of that, man.
How many coyotes have you looked at and been like, oh man, well we're
same
hunting.
Here. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm not
that.
spooking a buck. Nope, not doing it.
Nope.
I passed him up with my bow that I wish I wouldn't have done because there's a 4-point buck in the unit right below me, 80 yards when the coyote was literally 10 yards in front of me, looking at the deer, head looking. I could have just put it right in the back of his chest. Not even.
And you didn't because you wanted that buck.
I wanted that big 4-point.
Yeah, and think about now. How as you get to be my age, you're going to be like, that was dumb. I should have smoked that.
Because I didn't get either of them.
But, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I've done it. Man, I ain't fucking with that bear. We're deer hunting or whatever.
Yeah.
There's only been one time that I've ever shot a bear on a deer hunt.
Really?
Yeah, but he was 20.5-inch skull. It's the biggest bear I've ever killed.
I wasn't
going to not shoot that bear. I looked for him forever, right? And here he is.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate you coming on the show, man. We're reaching 2 hours. I hope that the folks listening to this got something out of it. Pardon the language.
Me too.
I got fired up. I dropped some hard F-bombs in here I might edit out.
You'll be editing me all day.
I'm
but
only
you know
gonna
that
edit,
coming in.
Yeah, I'm only going to edit 3 spots, and one it was a pretty hard F-bomb, and I don't feel good about it. But I got fired up there for a second. So
it's easy to do. It's easy.
Yeah,
because the true F-bomb is frustration.
It is.
It's frustration. Yeah. That's the true F-bomb here because we're at a lot of us are at our wits' end because we don't know how to kind of get it wrangled in to where it's going to be manageable. We don't see management. We don't see it going anywhere, and I really don't think it is, right?
Right.
But at some point, we've got to figure that out, and we've got to get together on it because, or not. If you don't, if it just depends on how much you really enjoy hunting. Yeah. So my suggestion is either put up or shut up.
Right.
Either get involved or, you know what, just be braced to never hunt again. And all the dollars that we've spent on this crap is all going to be for naught, right?
Right. Well, I totally agree. And I plan on trying to catch more meetings when I can. If they're during a Thursday at 1 o'clock, man, I can't go.
I get it. I totally do.
But if there's anything else I can do, if you want to come back on the show, you heard something from the Wolf Advisory Committee, you're always welcome back on. And
well, man, the next meeting that's out of town that I hear, if it's any time that's feasible, I'm going to let you know, and maybe we'll go together. That way, happy. I won't be the only one getting escorted out.
I'm like, yo, what he said, you're out of here too.
Actually, I'll probably just let you do all the talking.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll try. I might be a little bit more PG than you.
A little bit, guaranteed.
Well, I'll just wear a suit. Maybe people will take me seriously.
Okay, then we aren't going together.
Yeah, you show up in Carhartts and in a flannel or something. No one will take us seriously.
I try not to look like a hunter. I don't go in there. I'll just
go what I'm wearing. Obviously, as soon as they see my shirt and shit, they'll know. But you go in there prepared with ammo. Maybe they'll take you more seriously. I don't know. They're just like, oh shit, people are starting to figure this out. I don't know. Well, my dogs are freaking out right now.
Well,
little miniature
might
wolves.
Be a wolf out there.
There could be.
There's probably a wolf out in the front yard pissing on my tires or something.
All right. Was there any closing thoughts on your end, my friend?
I'll just say it one more time, guys. If you listen to this, especially Oregonians, get involved. Start making that in something. Just get involved in something. Go to these OHA banquets and support it a little bit, and maybe we can talk to guys there and say, hey, let's try and throw some money at this and get some stuff going one way or another.
When is the OHA banquet this year? Have you heard?
It's in September, so ain't nobody going.
What?
Yeah.
Why they hold it? I thought they always hold it in May.
They do, but so in May it's going to be the state banquet at Seven Feathers. So the Umpqua chapter, I only go to the Umpqua chapter ones. I don't go to the big dog. So the Umpqua chapters in September, I ain't going to that.
Why don't you go to the big dog one with me this year? We'll buy a table or something. Not buy a table, buy a few seats or something.
I guess maybe I will. How can you do that?
Go every
you have
year.
a wedding plan.
I go every year.
You're getting hitched.
June.
Yeah, you ain't got, man, you're going to be sampling cakes and don't even try and make plans. Don't even try it. Because I'll be sitting there by my little lonesome. I'm not going to that.
Where the hell's Garrett?
Yeah.
Okay, when I get the day and I find out the schedule or whenever, I'll talk to Jeff. He's on the OHA board here locally, my stepdad. We'll try and plan it out, and because I've gone almost every year to it.
To which one?
The OHA, the state one.
The state one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
see, I've never been to
when it's at the casino.
At the Seven Feathers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I go to those almost every year. I feel like it's every other year, but
I think it is every other year.
Yeah. I mean, I go to them when I can.
I've never been to that one.
It's good, man.
I'm sure it is.
500 people there.
Well, I mean, I bet you we're pushing that at the local ones, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's usually quite a few.
Yeah.
The thing is I think beyond OHA, we need to organize some kind of way. We need to get someone to spearhead it because nobody's going to listen to me. But we need to kind of do that. And I think we need to figure out a way to get the attention of the people up there at the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Right.
That hey, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
We can see it. We know what you're telling us.
I want to see that.
This is what's going on.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do to resolve these issues? Because it's not working. What you guys are doing you're doing nothing.
Right.
So since we're paying you, we need you to fucking do something.
Right.
Right. Honestly.
No, and
really.
I want to come off, and like I said in the beginning, I'm not anti-wolf. If anything, I'm anti-ticks. Fuck ticks. I hate ticks. They serve no purpose. Maybe snakes too. Snakes serve a little bit of a purpose, but they're devil creatures. But ticks, they serve literally.
How many times have you had a problem with the snake in the state of Oregon?
My whole life, every time I've seen one, I have a problem.
Do you even know what it is?
A snake?
Yeah. What kind it is? Or do you just
I
be
know,
like, oh, that thing's a death adder?
If you're deathly afraid of something, you know a lot about it. I'll tell you all right now.
So you can look at a snake and tell what kind it is.
Gardener snake, red racers, all that, bull snake.
Those things ain't going to jack with you?
Dude, I don't know.
How many rattlesnakes have you seen?
I've seen...
In Western Oregon?
2.
And how many out of those 2 bothered you?
Was I in a tree? Both of them.
Did they bother you?
Yeah, they bothered the hell out of me.
They did. They came after you.
With their eyes. I can't do it, man. I can't do snakes. If
you know that little corner store, that Cougar Cannabis, you need to quit going there. Okay? The freaking...
Man, they got those devil little eyes. And I don't know, man.
A tick. I can't believe you got... You
know, you're probably more apt to dying from Lyme disease than getting eaten by a great white.
Me? Yeah, because I'm too old to be getting in that water with them sons of bitches.
Ticks don't serve a purpose. They don't.
Sure they do.
What do? Suck blood?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're vampires.
They don't serve any purpose. It's not like this bird over here, this hummingbird, is relying on ticks.
What has a tick ever done to really bug you?
Crawl on me and bite me and suck my blood. And give me a big-ass rash.
No, have you seen those badass little dog tools? They look like a little L. You hook it and you twist it and boom, he comes right out. I pack one with me when I'm spring bear hunting.
I don't like ticks. I had 9 ticks on me last year, and 2 or 3 of them actually got in and were sucking blood.
You're going to die from Lyme disease.
Probably already
You probably have lemon, lime, and orange disease. You are freaking... Because you are fruiting out right now. You are definitely done for.
Oh, man.
I can tell.
I'm not anti-wolf. I'm anti-ticks. So I guess there we go. I guess by default, because the side of the aisle I'm on the anti-wolf because that's the side that's more with me, And I don't know. I guess I'm technically anti-wolf, but I'm not anti-wolf. It's not a wolf's fault. It's a wolf. It's not a wolf's fault that it does what it does. It's just doing what it's programmed to do.
No, and anti-wolf is just an easy statement, right?
Yeah.
It's just because, it's just easier to say it.
I'm
anti-wolf.
Yeah,
right?
but I don't want people
really
thinking
not.
I'm out there hating on wolves because I'm one of these shoot, shovel, and shut up idiots. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in that for bears, and a lot of guys are like that with bears.
No, and there's tons of guys like that. Anything that they just, and it's just something they think is like a free thing to bowl over.
I guess,
which is kind of ridiculous. If you really just like to bullshit over, do yourself and everybody else a favor. Please go down to your local Marine Corps recruiter and sign the fuck up and go into the infantry and have a blast with it, boys.
Yeah,
I've been there. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to laugh and high five when you just got a freebie, right?
Yeah.
So if you're really that kind of a human, go sign up. Most of them won't, right? They're just shit talkers.
I agree.
It's stupid.
So you're not going to join my anti-tick campaign? Is what you're saying?
I mean, they don't really. I probably, dude, I'm a foul piece of shit.
What about
That's probably
mosquitoes?
why they don't. Oh God, I would join that.
Okay, but the fish do eat the mosquitoes, but I think the fish can live without
I give
mosquitoes.
a fuck. How many times have you been hiking up this time of year? The snow's starting to melt. Oh God, June and July can be the worst.
Horrible. Lamola, Toketee.
You pull up to a trailhead,
Yeah.
and them sons of bitches are just hovering out the window, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. Any campaign to murder every and all mosquito, I'm down with that one. The ticks, I don't know. They're just, maybe I'm just that foul and they don't enjoy my blood. I mean, I'm really not that great of a human, right?
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. We're at 2 hours, and it was good talking to you.
It's always good. It's always fun, man.
It is. So, all right. Well, we'll let you get going here, man. I appreciate everybody listening. And Wayne, you want to tell them about what you do real quick? Send them to you, or are you too busy already?
What are you talking about?
Your taxidermy.
I own Wayne's Taxidermy. It's a little tiny taxidermy shop up in Yoncalla. I'm busy because I'm behind. The snowstorm smashed me, caved my roof in, and put me minimum 5 weeks behind.
Which, by the way, you were extremely smart not taking me up on my offer to help you work on your house.
Why is that?
I can't. Dude,
you
don't want me working on your shit.
It wasn't that big of a deal. I had a buddy come down from Tacoma, and he brought another guy, and we did it in one day.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, but
I was
it
like,
was just
man,
the time to get to do it, and it was
I'm
really
one of those guys that has to search for the nail for 6 hits, and then tink, tink, tink. That's me. It would not be good. You guys would spend more time laughing at my ass than actually doing it.
Well, we actually used metal and used screws, so if you can run a screw,
I can do that. I've got an impact driver, and I've got.
Can you hand up a sheet of plywood?
Probably do that.
Can you clean shit up off the ground?
Yeah.
We'd have found something for you.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, you should have took me
Doesn't
up on my
matter.
offer. I would have happily come out there and helped you.
I'm back in the saddle. I'm busting stuff out, trying to get it done.
What's
with quality.
Do you have a website or somewhere somebody can get a hold of you?
I have a Facebook page, Wayne's Taxidermy, Naldo Sherpa at 71 on Instagram.
Naldo Sherpa 71 at Instagram. Okay. Perfect, man. All right. Well, we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, I think.
All right. See you guys. All right, guys, that's this episode of the podcast. If you haven't yet, OP newsletter starting in the early summer. Go visit the onpointpodcast.com. Click the sign up button for the newsletter, and you're going to get discounts. You're going to get the latest updates for the content we have coming out, and just a bunch of good information. And I'm not going to spam you. It's going to be like once a month. So if you want to get maybe codes on the gear I'm using, maybe updates on all this other stuff, lots of really good in-depth information, I'm totally fired up to give that to you completely for free. It's just an email list. That's all it is. It's just a newsletter, and you pay nothing for it, and all you do is you let me email you like maybe once a month, and that's about it. So sign up for that. It's going to be the OP newsletter. It's going to come early summer, and that's on onpointpodcast.com. If you want to become a Patreon, you like what I'm doing here, go to patreon.com/onpointpodcast and become a patron. And any patron, gets entered in cool giveaways and has more of a say in the show. They can interact with me more. They get their questions answered, directly. And you just become more a part of the show, and you actually get more out of the show, probably, I'm guessing, if you're getting your actual questions answered. So any amount gets you in, $1, $5, $10, doesn't matter. You're billed at like the beginning of the month, and it really does help me buy more gear to record better, upper high quality, afford to go to more things, and just get more information to people who need it. So outside of that, I appreciate everybody listening to the podcast, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.